Once upon a time, in the bustling city of Boston, there lived two boys who were as different as day and night, yet shared an uncanny resemblance. One was Prince Edward, the son of King Henry, who lived in a grand palace filled with every luxury imaginable. The other was a poor boy named Tom Canty, who lived in a small, dilapidated house with his family. While Edward wore silk and velvet, Tom wore rags, but they both dreamt of lives beyond their own. One sunny afternoon, as Prince Edward strolled near the gates of the palace, he noticed a boy who looked exactly like him. Curious and kind-hearted, Edward invited Tom into the palace. The boys marveled at their likeness and quickly became friends. As they talked, they discovered a shared longing. Edward wished to experience the freedom of a commoner's life, while Tom yearned to live as a prince, if only for a day. Seized by a whimsical idea, the boys decided to swap clothes. Edward donned Tom's tattered garments, and Tom wore the prince's luxurious attire. They looked at each other and laughed, unable to tell themselves apart. But before they could switch back, a palace guard mistook Edward for a beggar and chased him out of the palace grounds. Now outside the palace, Edward was thrust into Tom's harsh world. He wandered the streets, trying to find his way back, but no one believed him when he claimed to be the prince. Meanwhile, inside the palace, Tom struggled with his new royal duties. Although he was kind and clever, he found it hard to keep up the charade and feared being discovered. Days passed, and Edward experienced the life of a pauper firsthand. He saw the struggles of the poor, the kindness and cruelty of strangers, and the harshness of the world outside the palace walls. Despite the hardships, he made friends and learned valuable lessons about empathy and humility. One day, while wandering through a market, he saw an old woman being mistreated by a merchant. Edward stood up for her, showing his innate nobility, and the woman, touched by his bravery, offered him shelter. Back in the palace, Tom grew more comfortable in his role as prince. He used his newfound power to make the lives of the people better, making fair judgments and showing compassion. However, he missed his family and worried about Edward's fate. As the days turned into weeks, rumors of the prince's strange behavior spread throughout the kingdom. The king fell ill, and it was announced that Prince Edward would soon be crowned king. Tom, distressed, knew he couldn't continue the deception much longer. On the day of the coronation, a grand ceremony was prepared. People from all over the kingdom gathered to witness the crowning of the new king. As Tom stood nervously before the throne, Edward burst into the hall, still wearing his ragged clothes. The crowd gasped, and the guards moved to seize him. But Tom spoke up, "Stop, this is the true prince." The room fell silent as Tom and Edward explained their story. At first, there was disbelief, but when Edward showed his knowledge of the palace and the king's secret signs, everyone realized he was indeed the true prince. The king, now weak but alert, embraced his son, grateful to see him safe. King Henry commended Tom for his honesty and bravery, and Edward, now crowned king, rewarded Tom and his family. Tom was given a position in the royal court where he could continue to help others, and his family was lifted out of poverty. King Edward ruled with the wisdom and compassion he gained during his time as a pauper. He never forgot the lessons he learned on the streets of Boston and worked tirelessly to improve the lives of all his subjects, rich and poor alike. Tom remained his loyal friend and advisor, and together they made the kingdom a place of fairness and kindness. And so King Edward and Tom Canty lived happily ever after. That bond of friendship and understanding, an enduring reminder that true nobility comes from the heart.